The Great Scottish Run in Glasgow is the biggest running event in the country, although don't quote me on that, as the Edinburgh Marathon could be bigger. All I know is that it's full of runners, in fact so many runners that they now have more than one start time. I was finishing my race just as some people were starting theirs. If you watch this video, it will show you what the race was like in 2024. I have a better video from the previous year. The weather en route was exactly the same this year, so check the other one out if you actually want a proper race video. In this one, I'll discuss my first ever race. It was the Glasgow Half Marathon in 2001. I recently tried to find my result, but all I found was a paragraph in the Glasgow Herald. Congratulations to the 7,625 runners who completed the race. Results will be available in Glasgow libraries from Friday. Imagine entering a race now in which you only get your results a week later in a library. For any kids watching this, libraries are like a Kindle but in brick form. When we were young, my brother and I would go to the local library in the morning to get a book each. We'd read the book in the afternoon and then return to the library to get another book to read in the evening. Yes, we were the cool kids in school. Myself, my brother and one of his friends had entered the race. My brother's friend arrived at the start wearing a backpack that wouldn't have looked out of place on a Sherpa climbing Everest. "Are you off to climb Munro?" I joked. He didn't laugh. "No, I brought the backpack to carry my juice." He pulled out a 2-litre bottle of orange. I stared at it and said, "You do know you get water in the course, you don't need to bring your own." He looked at me like I was the idiot. "Of course I know that, that's why I brought diluting juice." He'd brought 2-litre bottles of Robinson's diluting orange juice. How much juice can a man drink? He either gets very thirsty or he was planning to open an orange juice stall. The race started. Someone from the crowd spotted the Sherpa and shouted, "Are you off to climb Munro?" He didn't laugh. 30 seconds later, a woman from the crowd shouted, "Are you off to climb Munro?" This was going to be a long day. My race was uneventful until I got to the 9-mile point. I wanted to beat the other two. I looked at them. They weren't paying attention, so I started running as fast as I could. I'd run fast until I got to the finish line. I ran hard. I saw the 10-mile sign in the distance. Not far to go now, one last push. I ran hard. I looked for the finish line, but there was no finish line. At this point, I realised a half marathon is half a marathon, and not as I mistakenly thought, 10 miles. I felt a bit stupid, and the fast run had tired me out, so I had to walk. The other two caught up with me quite quickly. "Why did you run off?" asked my brother. I told him the truth, sort of. I was desperate for the loo. Yeah, that's why. They continued running. I walked the last 3 miles until I got to the finish. I met my brother and the Sherpa. The Sherpa offered me some orange juice. I said yes. He opened his bag to get it, but pulled out a pair of boxing gloves. WTF? "Why did you run with them?" He looked at me and said, "This is my boxing bag. Where else would I keep them?" I had to admire his logic. I've never seen him again since that day. This year's race was uneventful. The course is the usual mix of unappealing bits of Glasgow on an out and back route. But it is flat and it is fast. It would be nice though if they did actually try and show off the city a bit more. My aim was under 1 hour 50 and I did it in 1 hour 49, so I was happy with that. I guess I'll be doing it again this year. Maybe I'll carry juice to make the run more interesting.